This is how not to use astrology. Coming up right after this. Good afternoon, this is Lucky Lynx. So there's a topic that I've been wanting to do a video about for quite a while now, and I just seem to not have the time or the space, so I'm just going to do it right now while I'm in the car. And this is one that is happening all the time, very common right now, and that is the use of things like astrology for an excuse. So instead of using a tool for the potential that it has to actually empower you, the use of a tool as an excuse. And this is one of the reasons why, and you guys have heard me say that in the years that I was very seriously studying and working with astrology and doing astrology charts for people, I was seeing a certain phenomena develop that has only gotten worse. First of all, we have the phenomena that you guys have heard me talk about before in my videos, which is this Mercury retrograde thing, which when I started, people really weren't using it to cause panic the way that they are now. And it reminds me very much of those preachers who say, if you don't do this, you're going to hell, or this will cause God's wrath on you. And it's the same thing with Mercury retrograde. I'm literally seeing posts that people are putting up that says, this Mercury retrograde starting today, by the way, is going to be very bad for you, and you should freak out. You should be concerned. Well, watch the video that I did on freak out culture, and I'm going to state it again. If your spiritual path does not give you the tools to be able to manage something like that, then consider what it is that you are investing in. Because if it can't bring you success and calmness of mind and the things that are normally attributed to spiritual success, why would you invest your time and energy in it? That's first. Now, the second thing is I'll see people do this thing where they'll find something that's a habit that they have that they're not very proud of, or that causes them a lot of difficulty or challenges, and they'll say, well, it's because such and such is in my chart. I've got this and this as my ascendant. I've got this in my 12th house. This is in my 8th house. This is in my 4th house. This is my whatever. Therefore, X. Now, I've had it happen where someone caused or called out a habit, anxiety or fear or whatever it is, and they're like, well, it's because I have this combination in this house. And I think about astrology and I go, well, wait a minute, that really wouldn't result in that kind of behavior. That's first. And second of all, I've experienced those things in my life, and I do not have that same combination in that house. And then in some cases I go, wait a minute, that doesn't even have to do with that house. And so what's happening is the definition that they're applying to it is being used as an excuse to continue the behavior. Now, I want you guys to think about this really strong and really hard if you really want to ask yourself, how do you break past negativity? Because people were always asking me. The reason I shifted the way the station was going from showing people how to do cards and things like that to spiritual practice, people kept asking me, tell us about spiritual practice, tell us how to get rid of negativity. Well, this is one of those things that actually reinforces negative patterns in your life. When you have a negative pattern, but then say, well, I come from, the Pleiades, I'm a starseed, I'm a this, therefore this behavior is going to continue. Or this is my twin flame, therefore I'm going to continue to act without reason or without responsibility for my behavior because X. Oh, I have this planet in this house, therefore I can continue to behave this way, even though I know it's causing problems for myself and other people in my life, and it's irresponsible. This gives me the freedom to be irresponsible. You see this with people who, even if they don't, someone decides that for whatever reason, I've seen this many times, a person will go, well, everyone thinks I'm a jerk, therefore I'm just going to be a jerk. using something as an excuse to continue a behavior because it's easier than actually addressing the behavior itself and changing it. Now, if not being responsible for your communication, if not being responsible for your behavior is what you're using these things as an excuse for, then it's time to ask yourself, is this really the kind of experience that you want to have? There was something very brilliantly stated by Bandler and Grinder. They were the founders of neurolinguistic programming. And I think it was in their first book, Princes to, was it Ogres to Princes or something like that? It was about the basics of communication and the basics of neurolinguistic programming. And anyway, they said, Frogs to Princes, that was the name of it. They said, we are living at a time where everybody knows why they are sick or why they are having problems, but they don't know what to do about them. So one of the things that I'm seeing happening in this modern spiritual quote-unquote movement is that people are using their charts, cards, enneagrams, whatever it is, as a justification to determine why, quote-unquote, they have a problem. And one of the things that I see all the time in Tibetan divination is people who think they have a problem, and I've said this in recent videos, they think they have a problem and there are no obstacles, there are no problem. They're making the problem because they are using something as an excuse. So they'll go through their chart and they'll go, well, this is why I have a drinking problem, and this is why I'm bad at my relationships, and this is why this, and this is why that, and this is why that, and you've got a whole bunch of whys, but you don't have people actually using tools that actually solve the problem, and they're giving up on even trying to solve the problem because it's much easier to just say, well, my ex in this is in the 4th house. That's why I'm this. Consider this. As I've said before, if this is what you call being spiritual, this is just nothing but excuses. It's a bunch of excuses that people are using to maintain and continue bad behavior or dysfunctional behavior or behavior that puts them in really unhealthy places. Astrology, in Tibetan Bon, astrology, cosmology, kilkors, the things that we, divination, these are not things that we use to justify behaviors. These are things that we use to root out what the cause of something is, and then we have processes to employ to actually change it. So, if astrology is convenient for you because it gives you an excuse, that's totally fine. I'm not judging that. That's totally fine. But don't pretend that it's spiritual. Call it for what it is, an excuse. If Mercury being in retrograde allows you to be able to lose your cool, blow it, and blow up at people and then justify it later, at least be honest enough to admit it. Because if you're honest enough to admit it, eventually you're going to get tired of that behavior and you're going to do something about it. But I have seen people, there's always that guy he's an alcoholic, he's wrong to his family, or he's doing some bad behaviors, or he's dysfunctional, or he's cheating on his partner, or she's cheating on her husband, and they go, well, I'm just the jerk. And then they use that as an excuse to continue the bad behavior. These tools, the real tools, they aren't used as an excuse. They're used to actually solve problems and fix things. Consider this. I'm Lucky Lynx, as always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. It is Mercury retrograde right now. Yes, that doesn't mean that anything has to be a freak out. It doesn't mean that anything has to be a problem. And if you are finding a problem at this time and you want some help with it, I do have the ability to be able to protect you during this time using specific bond processes and creating a kill core for you. If you like to do kill core work, it's a map of your life. I create a map of your life. I build another one, connect it to that one, and we create changes in your life, or we find out what's actually causing the real problems, because it's not always a planetary energy. Sometimes it is a planetary energy. In Tibetan Bond, we use We use the Tibetan astrology, things like the year of the dog, the year of the rooster, the year of the snake, the year of the pig. It's very different when you look at things through this eyes. They talk about patterns and habits that are quite a bit more involved, and they talk about compatibility and purposes quite a bit more succinctly than Western astrology does. People are using Western astrology right now to cause freakouts and for excuses and to engage in very weird behavior, and it's something that I've seen develop over the years since I was actually doing charts for people, which is why I said, no, Western astrology is incomplete. For one thing, it's not giving people the tools to be able to solve the problems. So if you'd like to solve the problems, you want to do some kill core work, contact me, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. And hey, if you just want to get a reading, I can do that for you. We can do a reading. I can do a tarot reading. I can do Tibetan divination. I really, you name it, I probably can do it. 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. And if you would like to learn how to read the tarot like a boss, I have a basic class and an advanced class. I also have a basic Lenormand class, and I have a Grand Tableau class. I have one in playing cards, which are amazing. Playing cards tell you amazing things, give you processes to be able to change things. They're incredible. Mexican Loteria, incredible and amazing divinatory tool. And I also can put you in a crystal ball scrying class. Will really improve every one of your divinatory endeavors and pursuits. If you'd like to take any of these classes, contact me, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. For those of you who have contributed by donating, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. And if you like these videos and they give you something to think about, well, then I'm going to put my PayPal, my Venmo below, and you can donate. Remember, as Mercury goes retrograde today, and just because something is happening in the sky, just because something happens in your chart, doesn't mean that it excuses certain behavior. It's our responsibility to be able to manage our own minds, manage our own energies. And we wouldn't have these tools, we wouldn't have started looking into these tools if there weren't ways to be able to change these behaviors and change these outcomes. Otherwise, life is just hopeless. And nowhere do I ever want or choose to leave a client hopeless.